The biggest season opener college football has seen in years. Colorado Buffaloes face 17th ranked TCU.
I hope Colorado puts up a fight in this game.
On Fox starts this
Watch TCU come out and win like 50-0.
Speaking of can't miss.
Oh my
We're in
God.
the midst
I would
of
not want to be in
prediction
that
week.
locker
We got
room with
another
Brown.
round, Brew. Welcome to day 3 of prediction week. These predictions are set in stone and we will be staked to them for the rest of the year. One caveat for you at home.
Like the Cardinals and Raiders last year.
Past proclamations heard here about being a member of the Iowa State Mafia should be taken into account when you hear these predictions.
Any home teams I can claim at some point.
Well, yeah,
that gives me a lot of wiggle room.
I'm not talking about you.
A lot of wiggle room.
Particularly, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. We'll predict every division, every award, and every playoff game, and we start now with the basement of the NFC West.
All right, it is odd that last place is actually, in some ways, the second best in the world. But in this case, it is. In last place will be the Arizona Cardinals. They will be in last place in the NFC West. They will be in last place in the NFC. They will be last place in the NFL. That means they will get the best prize of any team all year other than the Lombardi Trophy, which is Caleb Williams. Congrats to them on their next 15 years of pending success. Number 3, the Los Angeles Rams. The best thing they could do, honestly, this year is to throw their 2 games against the Cardinals to prevent Caleb Williams from coming to that division. They're not going to do that. They have Aaron Donald. They have Matt Stafford. I'm not sure how long they're going to have Aaron Donald or Cooper Kupp. They probably should be turning the ship in the tanking direction themselves, but they don't want to do that. They have about $70 million in dead money. The bleep them picks philosophy got them a Super Bowl. Now it's going to get them a few years of trying to have to dig themselves out of that hole. Number 2. But making the playoffs is the San Francisco 49ers. The Purdy regression is inevitable. And it is shocking to me how many people are just all in on this player because of a half dozen.
I don't think they're all in on the player. I think they're all in on
Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that
I think
is
that's
going
what they're
to be
more locked in on.
sustainable. I also, despite the pending scoffs at the table, do not think the football gods are going to smile fondly upon the process of the San Francisco 49ers of abandoning
Nick is just
Trey
holding a
Lance
grudge
at
against them now.
23 years old
Trey Lance, this is
and
very
bringing
clear.
in Sam Darnold and giving him more hype than you ever gave to a player you were deeply invested in that you never gave a real chance to. Team the football gods, however, will love, and who also the data analysts love, the Seattle Seahawks. They started 2 rookie tackles last year, not only survived it, but thrived. Geno Smith, who a lot of people feel like had not gotten a fair shake yet in this league, finally did as a veteran quarterback and delivered, leading the NFC in touchdown passes. The defense will be even better because they played so many young players, so many rookies last year. They might have the best
it's like the
corner
Chiefs.
in the entire
They had so many
NFC
rookies play
Woolen.
last year.
I think they have the most under-discussed, great receiving core in the league. They will always have a good running game, and they have an excellent head coach. Seattle Seahawks get back to the playoffs, Brew, and win the division.
Well,
yeah,
you
that's
got
crazy.
The last choice, right?
Okay.
The Arizona Cardinals. But I think this is interesting. Are they going to keep Kyler out the whole
You think
year?
the Rams are the Seahawks?
I mean, because if he starts playing, he's going to try to win games.
I mean, the last time the Rams were all healthy,
few
they
Call
did win
of
a.
Duty games.
And so, well, that leads to the second question.
Yeah.
How tradable will Kyler Murray be?
You'll get a first.
With that contract, with questions about his study habits, questions about how he fits in with his teammates, his leadership. Like, I get that they're tanking, but I just think it's not going to be as neat
went for a first-round pick
think.
twice. Darnold went for a
It
second,
is
a fourth, and a sixth.
It's not going to be as
were
neat
bad.
as you think,
think,
right? And
how about
people
these bad
learn from that stuff.
But no,
just
they
like they
don't.
learned with a lot of the running backs.
All
I
right.
mean, Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott.
I wouldn't
so
give
on
up
and
a
so
first round
forth.
for
All right,
Kyler.
at number 3, the Rams. We agree on that. Aaron Donald, will he get traded? That's going to be the big question. I'm sure he's not motivated. Remember, he almost retired. Or that might have been just to get money, but he can't be motivated to play for the Rams right now. So we'll see if he gets traded. At number 2, this is where you go off to. The Seahawks. And you notice I don't have them even in the playoffs.
Oh, that's
because
ridiculous.
you talked about Brock Purdy turning back into a pumpkin. No, it's going to be Geno Smith. He already did it in the last 5. They went 3-5 in their last 8 games. Look at him over the last 5 games. Great early on, but then you get a little tape. You start taking them
Little
seriously.
tape.
You start taking him seriously. Yeah, there wasn't much tape.
It was
his first,
13 weeks.
What, 10 years,
What
9
are
years?
we
He
talking
was scout team and all that. Let me see that again, Dusty. Nick, you need to look at this.
Bro, I
Everything, the
watched the
TD
game. I saw
interception,
it, yeah.
terrible. The passer rating,
It's not terrible.
it ain't great. It's not what he did last year.
Well,
All
it
right?
is last year.
It's pretty
No,
bad compared to
but
week
I'm
1 through
saying
13.
The
though.
beginning of the season, it is.
You know what
coming.
Gino's not going to do?
All right.
3 times
to
more
right
touchdowns.
back.
Numbers.
That's what he's not. Gino's not going to right
I
back.
don't know if that's in the lexicon.
Number one, I can't believe you don't have the Niners number one.
No,
now
I
I'm
don't.
assuming they get things straightened out with Nick Bosa. They will. But Brock Purdy, I don't see a regression. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar, but
He
all
doesn't
the
need to be,
weapons
that's
he
the
has,
thing.
All they have to do is stay healthy.
Yeah.
Big deal for them. But if they're healthy,
team around
come
him is
on,
just
man,
so
that
good.
Defense,
Okay.
that defense is
Coach,
awesome.
you can
and
be the deciding
weapons are
vote.
awesome.
Brew, member of Iowa State Mafia, along with Brock Purdy.
Just
Here's his
Iowa
numbers.
Mafia.
Nick says he was just a flash in the pan, although he did lead in yards per pass, and he did lead the whole NFL in passer rating. Do you think Brock Purdy is the real deal? I know it's a 7-game stretch, but when Trevor Lawrence has a 7-game
Right,
stretch,
Trevor Lawrence has had a 7-year stretch.
he did?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
What
he
about
was
that?
great.
High school.
Sophomore year of high school, last year at college.
How was that first
Yeah,
rookie year?
7
Good?
years. No, it ended. It is the college.
Okay.
He was good.
Coach
Pop
Brock
Warner,
Purdy.
too.
Brock Purdy.
Look, I love the Brock Purdy story, and it's a great story. It's not as good as Geno Smith's story, and your vibes are all off.
Thank you,
But he
Coach.
comes in. They're 8-4. Now, if you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, when he came in, they were 1-10. They both went 5-0 when they started. Brock Purdy's numbers were a little bit better in terms of touchdowns. Interceptions were a little bit better as well. But you're talking about one guy who comes into a team that hadn't won anything versus one guy who comes into a loaded team and plays pretty well. And I'm really impressed with what he did. But I went and watched his touchdowns this afternoon. I watched his interceptions this afternoon.
Yeah.
And a lot of the touchdowns, it's on the stat sheet, it says 60-yard completion, but it's a screen. It says 40-yard completion, and it's a shallow cross. He throws 2 other touchdowns. There's not a guy within 12 yards of the wide receiver.
You know what
That
should
won't
watch
be the
next
case this
is
year.
the-
Debo's going to be better.
Well, I'm saying that he did a good job on a loaded team, but when
Debo
you
was
look
hurt
at
too
what
last
Jimmy
year.
Garoppolo did versus what he did, it's a little bit more impressive, and the odds of him being able to complete or continue on the upward trend or maintain a 116 quarterback rating, it's
or
pretty small.
have a half dozen dropped. What you know we should watch instead of his interceptions or his touchdowns? His dropped interceptions. That's a fun 12-minute YouTube video. Guys.
The weapons haven't gone anywhere.
That's okay. Well, that's
The
fine.
play calling hasn't gone
listen,
anywhere.
This is important and good for the show because since you have abandoned Jimmy,
No.
you've abandoned Russ. You need
I know, I was giving you a
different
layup on
quarterback.
Jimmy.
Yeah, you just threw
They're
Geno
making the
out.
playoffs. I keep it real. I'm about facts, not feelings.
Yeah. So, but we now it is established. Do you have your gavel?
No.
Brock Purdy is Brew's guy. He's your guy. You
Yeah.
want him, right?
Iowa Mafia.
There we
baby.
go. Okay.
I'm not
Dark
saying
horse
super
MVP.
Dark horse.
Dark
Yeah,
horse
I'm not
MVP.
ready to go
Why not?
there.
They're going to win the
I'm
division.
not ready to
All right,
go
Hubs is
there,
gonna get
but
back.
Okay, how's we got
I'm gonna do
NFC
damage.
South time. Brady is gone. Carr is here. Baker is back. Desmond Ritter enters
Carr
his
looks like he's
sophomore
on
year,
roids.
and Bryce Young tries to right the ship in Carolina.
Yep.
Nick, take it away.
Number 4, the Carolina Panthers. Another team like Houston that traded away their number 1 pick. At least Carolina did it to move all the way up to number 1 to get Bryce Young, but he is going to get killed
This division
behind a
sucks.
non-existent offensive line. And when he doesn't get killed, he's going to be throwing the non-existent weapons. That might be the worst offense in the league next year. It's going to be a tough opening for Bryce Young. Number 3. Baker can only do so much. They've got $90 million in dead money. That means 45% of their roster doesn't exist. It's going, or their salary cap space. Again, there's a cost to buying Super Bowls and buying. I mean, does the Super Bowl even count if it's a home Super Bowl too? Like, I don't even get it.
Oh,
It's
it
not-
counts.
Good for a
it's a little
few.
tainted, a little gross. But Baker can only do so much. I think Baker will be okay. I think he'll throw to some good weapons, but that team is going to struggle to a degree. Then, the most overrated team in the league, the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints continue to pretend they are in contention, and they continue to kick the salary cap can down the road. So eventually, those chickens will come home to roost. In the meantime, what they're going to be able to satiate
They're a pretty good team,
themselves
though.
with is another 8.
I mean, Kamara's only gone
okay,
for, like,
that's
what, 3
fine.
games?
But at some point, you're going to have to admit you are not
He'll
in
probably
the
come back and be a
championship
beast.
window. And then the division
They
champion.
have Michael Thomas back.
The Atlanta Falcons, led by Offensive Rookie of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year and the pending rushing champion Bijan Robinson. The Atlanta Falcons will lead the league in rushing. They have Drake London, they have Kyle Pitts, and they have the softest division in the entire NFL. I think they can go 10-7 and win the NFC South, and Bijan Robinson can have a Marshall Faulk-esque 2,000 yards from scrimmage. I believe all of that, so there it is.
At number 4,
Bijan Robinson would be such a beast this
Knicks
year.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
They're not mine. I have them third. They're not
Baker,
mine.
you claimed Baker years ago. He's
I like
your
it.
guy.
Yeah.
All right, and Baker will not be starting midway through the season. It'll be Kyle Trask. All right, and Todd.
That would be
Bowles,
the most
It's going to
unfortunate.
be a tough year for him. So
I think that
at
Baker has
number
like
3,
the preseason
Carolina.
and
All right,
training camp with the
you're
Bucs.
right.
I think he
like
could actually
Bryce
do.
Young, and I like Frank Reich. So I think that's
decent.
a great duo. But they
You
just
still
don't
throw
have
Mike
much else.
Evans.
His weapons aren't that bad. Shark and Adam Thielen.
He's a
but
beast. He's like
the
6'5".
line is tough. And Thielen, I like Thielen. All right, at number 2, the Falcons in the playoffs. I agree with you.
Two NFC
Yep.
South playoff teams
Yep.
and the Seahawks missing?
Yep.
Wow.
Because the Atlanta is
Wow.
Their run game is great.
I think I agree with Brou here. I think the Saints aren't the best team
Top 3 team
in that
in the
division.
league rushing, and now you add Bijan.
Because
He is going to
Kamara
have a great
and
year. I don't
Michael
know about
Thomas,
rookie of the year,
like,
but
weren't
he
there
will
last
have
year.
a great year. And then at number 1,
now they have a better
obviously,
QB.
the Saints.
I like that.
Chris
Like I
Olave.
said, Derek Carr, he's an upgrade.
There's a lot of pretty
Derek
good weapons.
Carr has never had
And this is
even
a trash
top
division.
19 defense.
Not even top
now he's
19.
got a top 10 defense. First time in his career.
Can I ask
He's got some weapons. Chris Olave. I don't know if Thomas will stay healthy.
Yeah.
But if he does, hey.
Can I just ask a question real
Yeah.
quick?
And I'm
So
from
Derek Carr,
Louisiana.
So I just want to make sure I understand it. Because Derek Carr, you're high. You think he's going to be able to have success, a level in New Orleans that he couldn't have in Las Vegas? I just want to make sure I
because
understand.
he's got a better defense.
No, but it's not the coaching thing, because I know you were saying the coach, because are you a big Dennis Allen guy? Or are we big
I mean,
on
last
the
year,
Saints?
what they say earlier, they gave up the most double-digit leads in the
Dennis
NFL.
Allen calling the plays?
I mean, that's
They
just
got
a result
new
of the
offensive
defense, isn't it?
coordinator.
Okay,
Or different
all right, that's
offensive
fine.
coordinator. So
They
Everybody
probably had
loves
those
the
double-digit
Saints,
leads
man.
because of
Yeah, they should.
Carr.
Everybody loves the Saints.
I like Derek Carr.
You like the
Makes
Saints?
sense to me.
Yeah. I like Baker, to be honest with you.
Oh, good
Oh,
job.
stop it.
Well, I just want to root for Baker. I want to root for Baker. I don't think
It's
he's
not-
had a fair
You
shot.
got feelings for him.
I
but
do.
This is about
I
what
got feelings
really
for
is
Baker.
going to happen on the gridiron.
14 guys on that list. That's Baker's list of head coaches and offensive coordinators. I didn't do the math, but I
That's
think
insane.
it's double Tom Brady's, and Baker hasn't been in the league that long.
I think those would be called
So,
excuses.
that's not excuses. That's continuity. It's a reason.
It brings a
Anyways,
perspective
Coach,
to it.
Give me your outlook on Baker.
Okay, first of all, I'm worried because I agree with Nick on both champions that he chose. So again, that might be a cautionary tale.
should be worried,
Might be a
Coach.
cautionary tale for anybody who's watching. I think it's going to be hard for Baker. You're taking over for a legend. You've lost your All-Pro center. You couldn't run the ball a lick last year, and you lost your All-Pro center. 25% of your team is rookies. There's a lot of things that he's going to have to overcome for them to be
This is
successful.
a bad fit for him then.
But he's fortunate in the division that he's playing because there's no team in that division that just. I like Atlanta a lot, but
Both Baker
there's no
somehow
team
ended
that
in
just
San Francisco.
Is a slam dunk home run to win out there. And if Baker gets hot, and Baker can show that he's closer to early Baker than
Like,
we've
what if
seen
Baker
here
gets
recently,
benched?
I'm cheering for him too. And
Everybody's rooting for him.
took
8
me a
weeks
while,
in, and then the
but I'm
49ers,
cheering for him because he's the
because
underdog
their
now.
offense
Not
injures
because,
every quarterback that plays
they
for
don't
them.
get
Bijan Robinson, Rookie of the Year.
I like Bijan Robinson
They lose
a lot. I
Brock
like
Purdy
Robinson.
and Sam Darnold.
Talking
And
about
all they're
Aaron
left with
Jones.
is nothing, so they have to go and get Baker,
not
who's been
there.
benched.
He's not there.
Well, it's kind of a big deal.
And the Chiefs win a lot of defense.
Bad
Kind
vibes.
of a big deal.
This